Unsolved.
JonBenet Ramsey case, JB's last minutes. Warning, some people might find this video upsetting, and you should find it upsetting because it talks about the last moments of JonBenet's life. There's no real graphic pictures, it's just the subject matter. Now in this video, I present 3 scenarios with 12 different things that happened to JonBenet, like she was strangled, or she was assaulted, or she was wrapped in the white blanket. But I changed the order of them in each scenario and let you decide which order seems the most logical. And they're all in the last moments of JonBenet's life. Now in this first scenario, JonBenet had wet the bed, and then she was whacked on the head with something, or somehow she had the skull injury. And then she was moved downstairs, and she was placed on the floor in the boiler room. And there's a chance that there was some time between being placed there and the next few events. Then the killer constructed a garrote and strangled JonBenet with the garrote, and then removed JonBenet's long johns and underwear, assaulted JonBenet, and the injury had some blood, and then she was wiped clean with a cloth, and then her underwear were replaced and the long johns, and then she was wrapped in a white blanket and moved to the wine cellar. Now this scenario seems to hold up best among the 3 scenarios and the order of events. Now the only thing that was odd to me is the assault. Why would that happen? And I thought of a couple ideas why. One, maybe Patsy was trying to cover up the bedwetting, and that's why she did this. And then the second is that she was trying to push this away from her by having John's daughter was being kidnapped. And so it didn't have to do with her. So I guess she thought, Patsy, that some outsiders saw JonBenet in the beauty contests and they kidnapped her as John's daughter and they assaulted her. Now in this scenario, JonBenet is not hit in the head until later. So she's moved down to the basement and she's placed on the floor in the boiler room, and her long johns and underwear are removed, and then she's assaulted. She's injured and bleeds some, and then the area is wiped clean with a cloth, and then her underwear and long johns are replaced. Then the garrote is constructed, and then she's choked to death or strangled, and then she soils herself by, when she dies, her bladder empties, and then she's whacked on the head with some metal object, and then she's wrapped in the white blanket and placed in the wine cellar. Now this scenario seems to work, except it doesn't seem to have the element of staging. It's just what happened. And if there was anything that I would change, is she might have been whacked on the head after the assault, and that is why the garrote was made and she was strangled. Now the reason that I put it in the order on the clipboard is there was no bleeding when she was hit on the head. And so if she was strangled first, then there wouldn't be bleeding on her scalp or under her hair. John, look, it was an accident. This could be all a lot easier for everyone. Look, somebody bashed my daughter's head in, somebody strangled her. It wasn't an accident. Now in this third scenario, it's as if the intruder did all of these things. So JonBenet was moved down to the basement, and JonBenet was placed on the floor in the boiler room, and then her long johns and underwear were removed, and then she was assaulted, and then there was an injury and she bled some, and then she was wiped clean, and then her underwear and long johns were replaced, and then a garrote was constructed, and she was strangled with the garrote, and she soiled herself, and then she was whacked on the head with something hard, and then she was wrapped in the white blanket and moved to the wine cellar. Now in this scenario, there seems to be a lot of things that are odd. Like, why would he wipe her clean? Why would he wrap her in a white blanket? Why would he move her into the wine cellar? And even, why would he whack her in the head? And my final thought would be, you might try moving the events around some, but they don't move around very well. So give that a try if you wish. Please subscribe. I need to monetize this channel to get some money to maybe put a new roof on this barn, even though it's not mine. Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and I thought of this idea because I thought it might only work one way, because these events are all facts. It's just a question of what order they occurred in. And it seems to me scenario 1 is the most likely, and then maybe the second scenario. But as always, the intruder theory always doesn't seem to make any sense. It doesn't fit with the facts. That's why people don't believe the intruder theory when they've learned a lot about this case. So I'll see you next weekend.